Welcome to Botches Off-Road. Join us as we talk about everything from gear reviews to trail stories, tent camping to rock landing, and all things to do with the outdoors. Today's episode is pretty special. I got the chance to go on Snail Trail and talk about a little bit of my my day job, a little bit of Meshtastic, a lot of bit about Meshtastic, and a little bit about the Botches and how we started. It was a great time getting to talk to Jimmy and Tyler, and I'm really glad to be able to share this episode with you. Go ahead and go over to theirs and at least give them a download. Even if you listen to this one, at least give them a download for theirs. They're pretty much the same, I'm sure. So yeah, I'll get right into it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome back, ladies, gentle ladies, kiddos, boys, girls, all the trail dogs out there. This is a Monday episode, of course, and so, which means we have a really fun topic with a really fun individual here. Professional podcaster over here, man. Getting him on the show finally. He's called in a couple times. We have Alex here from Botches Off-Road, man. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm doing pretty good.
Nice. We're doing pretty well as well. And of course we have Jimmy here as always.
Hi.
I was going to just skip right over
Thank
here.
you. Yeah, I know.
What is it?
Used to it.
What's his nickname this week?
I don't know. Jimbo Jet. I don't know.
That'll work. That's one of the better ones I've heard. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah, man, welcome to the show, Alex. I think it's going to be a fun episode. I always wanted to just like dive right into radio talk, but Jimmy said that he wanted to be involved a little bit more. So
Yeah.
He's got to push us back.
Well, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to jump right into radio talk. And if for all those people that are like me, you can just skip to like the 50th minute mark and then I'll join you guys again.
perfect. After Jimmy's had 4 whiskeys while we're sitting around, Jimmy comes in all sloppy.
Did you leave any of those proofs here?
No, I took them home and had them last night. They were fantastic.
I had a whiskey sour last night.
I'll keep sipping on my glass of water.
There you go.
That looks like a giant jar of vodka. That's what that really is.
Yeah, we have our coffees.
Be better.
Our coffees over here.
Yep.
Since we are recording in the morning, well, morning for us, is it noon for you?
1 o'clock, yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep. Time travel. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. We want to know a little bit more about you. So you've been listening to us for a long time, and you've called in and left some messages on the Snail Mail a couple of times there, which kind of led us into a fun discussion about Meshtastic versus APRS, which I think we're going to dive into a little bit here in the future.
For sure.
But we want to know a little bit more about you, Botches Off-Road, maybe get into some turkey farming. And yeah, I don't know. I think it should be fun. First thing I want to know though is Botches Off-Road. You guys do an off-road podcast. You and two other guys. Tell us a little bit. What's your elevator speech for Botches Off-Road?
So I'll go right down to the beginning. So we started a few years ago. We had a group chat called the Bitches. And then we had to change the name of it and screwed up and named it the Botches. And then ever since then, our little off-road group was known as the Botches.
That's pretty funny. So Jimmy was sitting over here writing down notes on his little notebook, and I looked over and I was like, that looks like Bitches. I read it as Bitches Off-Road at first, and then I was like, oh no, he wrote it as Botches. And I was like, I wonder if that's where that came from. No, I can't be. I wonder if it's something else. So,
No, you got it.
I got it. Nailed it.
Dead on.
First time you've done something right.
So then we kind of got into Toyotas. I come from Jeeps. I had a TJ. I had a J4, a 73 J4000. I had a CJ. Like that's
What's the J4000? I haven't heard of that alphabet yet.
It's an old pickup. Mine was 1 ton, J4800, and then you could go down to like a J2000, which after 73, I think 74 is when they changed the name to J10 and J20.
Okay.
Okay. That makes. I know the J10 and J20, so I never knew that they were a 4000 and 2000.
Yeah, that's really neat. What year did you say yours was?
73.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was my first quote unquote overland rig.
Dang.
Nice.
I used to throw. I had a PVC frame I made, and I'd throw a tarp over it and camp in the bed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or
I've done that, but I just put the tarp over the cab and shut it in the doors, and then angle it down and bungee it over the tailgate and down on like to the trailer hitch, and that would be your shelter right there. It was perfect. But I didn't have the PVC stuff. That's cool.
Mine looked like a covered wagon, which, I mean, it was Arizona, so it made sense.
Nice.
Okay, so you had a Jeep, and then a couple Jeeps. Did you have other Jeeps than the TJ and the J4?
I had a CJ. My first car was an 83 CJ7.
Okay.
That's
And then
long.
I sold my TJ back in 17, I think. 17 or 18. And then I didn't have anything until 2022, and I was just like, you know what? I need a new car. I'm tired of just driving a Power Stroke everywhere. So I went and bought a 4Runner.
Nice. Good choice.
Third gen 4Runner. So
That's a
the
good choice.
third gen, best gen.
Second gen, best gen, but just got to change a lot of stuff on the second gen to make it the best gen. But
You're changing everything and taking it from a third gen and putting it in your second gen.
Once you have a third gen engine, a first gen drivetrain, and Ford axles and Tundra diffs on it, it's second gen is the best gen. So
I will say your second gen is the best second gen I've ever seen.
There's a couple up here in NorCal that give it a run for its money for sure. There's some cool builders up here that like to do some fun things with second gens, but
over here in Michigan, they're all rotted out. So
yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it.
Even my third gen, the frame looks like a quilt. So
oh jeez,
Oh, that's sad.
That's a bummer.
We need to send you one.
Yeah. I'll just send him a third gen frame.
We got into Toyotas. Mark bought a Tacoma not long after I bought my third gen. His first one was an 09 Tacoma, and he rolled that about 6 months after he bought it.
Ouch.
Just hit an icy spot on the road, and she just kept going.
Michigan stuff.
So, yeah, Michigan stuff. So he replaced it with a 14 Tacoma, and we were just the two of us. We had our little group, Botches Off-Road, and we do a lot of stuff with a Facebook group called Mint State Tours. And another guy, we're from a really small town of about 700 people, and another guy from our town happened to be in there, which is Gavin, and he drove an FJ. And then we were out wheeling one day, and we're just like, you know what? We should start a podcast.
Yeah, how hard can it be?
Was that
Little did I know.
Yeah, famous last words.
Those idiots, Jimmy and Tyler, figured it out, and we could probably figure it out.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So were you guys just kind of like, hey, we love talking about off-roading, so let's just start a podcast, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Other
Okay.
people like listening to us, so why not?
Yeah, there you go. As long as people are listening, it makes it kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
So cool, man. What all do you have done to the third gen 4Runner then?
I've got, right now it's kind of got a cheap lift. I've got a Freedom Off-Road adjustable shocks in the front, set to 3 inches. And then I've got 3-inch I-box in the rear with currently rough country shocks in the rear, but I've got icons sitting on my bench that I need to rebuild to put on it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a full set of 5th gen icons, 3 fronts and 3 rears for $200. And I'm like,
whoa.
Even if I don't like icon that much, it's worth the $200.
Yeah, they still make a decent product. So
yeah, they do. They seem all right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, cool. You said to rebuild shock. Do you have a lot of experience with rebuilding shocks, or?
I will be learning.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
I do everything. I haven't taken my truck to a shop ever, so.
Nice. Do you have a big mechanical background, or what's your background in?
I mean, when I was in the Army, I did radios, and I just built a bunch of race cars and Jeeps while I was down there. So it's always been a hobby, and it's cheaper to do it myself than take it to someone. So I'll figure it out.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. Cheaper, but I was literally talking about this morning. It's cheaper to do it yourself, but you're also spending the time. So it's where's that balance?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So So you went from Arizona, it sounds like, up to,
Yep.
was it Minnesota? No, Michigan?
Michigan.
Michigan,
Yep.
Yep. And then somewhere in the middle there was the Army. So did you grow up in Arizona originally?
I grew up actually a mile down the road from where I'm at right now.
Oh, wow.
Is where I grew up. But I was stationed in Fort Huachuca, Arizona for 2 years.
Gotcha.
And that's
so
where you're
Arizona was for the Army.
Yep. Arizona was for the Army.
And that's where you're building race cars?
Yeah, I built a 96 Cobra and a 2004 Ram 1500.
Wait, Ram 1500 race car?
Yep.
How does that work? Enlighten us over here.
It was a single cab short bed Hemi.
Okay. Good
So
combo.
I slammed it,
Uh-huh.
put a turbo on it, made it fast,
Yeah.
and then blew it up.
Dodge problems.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds fun. And then, so after the stint in the Army, you found yourself coming back home?
Yeah, it made the most sense. You know, I could stay at my dad's till I got stuff figured out, and then I just kind of never left.
It happens.
Yep.
I'm, living in the same house as my childhood house. So I fully understand that. Nice. Okay. And then in the military, you did radios, it sounds like.
Yep.
So, okay. That's where your affection for radios came from, or was it before then?
I'd say that I did radios for the Army because I liked radios.
Okay, so were radios already a big hobby of yours before you got in the Army then?
I wouldn't say so much a big hobby. I was more into tech, but my dad's a ham, so it's always just kind of been there.
Yep. Yeah, isn't that kind of funny how that works out?
Yeah.
That's typically how people end up getting into radios. Is somebody in their family is a ham operator, and you're just around it all the time, so it just kind of comes naturally then.
And I'm from a small town that used to not have very good cell service, so we all had CBs anyway. So.
Yep. I never got my CB to work, so I never liked him. And then I met this guy, and he's like, "You should try the ham radio." And I was like, "Wow, this actually works. This is great."
Yep.
I still do not have my ham license, so.
Oh.
You're one of those guys.
I keep putting it off.
Yeah. I don't know, it's not too bad, especially for you. If you already know radio stuff, the tech license will be super easy for you. So it's just a matter of finding a spot and doing it, I guess. A testing location.
The test, I've taken multiple practice tests. They're pretty easy, so.
Yeah. If you're familiar with radios, the tech is easy. It's funny, I've talked with people who are the test givers out at different testing locations and different clubs. And every once in a while, they'll get together and take the 3 tests, the technician, the general, and the extra. And they say that, usually most of them will pass the technician. Every once in a while, there's, one person in the group that won't pass it for whatever reason. And then, usually, 60 to 70% of the group will pass the general. And then, only, 20 or 30% will pass the extra. And they're all extras, too. So it's just funny how the test changes over time and updates, and they don't stay current with the updates, but they already have their license. They're like, well, whatever. Well, that's cool. Okay, so I'm going to avoid jumping into more radio talk.
Yeah, let's go back to the podcast.
Let's get back to off-road podcast stuff. You went to the military for radio stuff. You built cars all the time. So have you just pretty much always just kind of been building stuff? I mean, it sounds like you grew up in this town of 700 people, so not a whole lot of resources, I imagine, for repairing things, which is why
we've got quite a few mechanics in town. It just, my family would never really had money to go to them, so we just always fixed our own stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, so so now I'm going to allude to turkey farming now. Is that a family business that you're doing? Because you do turkey farming now, right?
Yeah. I applied for this job because it was a mile from my dad's house.
Okay.
And I had lots of poultry experience because when I was a kid, I raised birds. Mm-hmm. So after a year of trying to get them to hire me, they hired me. And I've been managing a farm of about 40,000 birds for 5 years now.
Holy crap.
40,000?
40,000.
Wow. But it's not even Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We do more sandwich meat. We don't do the Thanksgiving turkeys.
Okay.
All right.
So you told us, I think, off air that they're primarily toms, which is a boy turkey. And so boy turkeys is turkey meat for like sandwiches?
Yeah, so a tom is usually bigger and tougher, so it makes better sandwich meat, whereas a hen is smaller and more tender, and they make better Thanksgiving turkeys.
Ah, okay.
What do the transgender turkeys make?
Those don't
make
exist
Christmas turkeys. That's your Christmas duck.
I got you, the turducken.
Yeah, that's what's inside of the turkey.
Okay, wow, 40,000 freaking turkeys.
That's a lot of birds.
Crazy.
That's at max capacity. Right now, I've probably got closer to like 36.
That's still a lot.
That doesn't sound like any less to me.
I have a hummingbird feeder, so you know.
Same thing.
Kind of. I get like 5 hummingbirds that show up at mine. Have to refill it like once a week, but yeah, that's gnarly. So, being in your geographic location, I'm assuming everything's pretty much inside. Like,
I've got 4 barns, 1 brooder coop, and then 3 finisher barns.
What does that mean? A birder coop and finishing barns?
So a brooder is where a bird goes when they're a baby.
Okay.
And then a finisher or a grow out barn is where they'd go to live the rest of their life.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. That's interesting. So that you move them from barn to barn throughout their life cycle.
From one barn to another barn, one time.
Yeah.
How many turkeys are you moving at a time between barns?
Between 9 and 10,000.
How do you move 9 to 10,000 turkeys between 2 buildings?
So we've got this big, almost, I'd say it's probably a 20-foot long trailer with a conveyor belt on the floor. So we herd 1,000 of them onto the trailer and then go into the next barn and turn the conveyor on, and they just kind of fall off.
That's amazing.
I was gonna say another covered wagon joke of some sort. But yeah. Wow. Okay. And
funny.
So, what ratio is your brooders to the finishers?
I don't know exacts.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
I know that the finisher's like 350 yards, I think. The finisher's big. I don't know exacts on that. But I know that the brooder's 200 yards.
Okay. And so right now you said you have roughly 36,000, but are they all in the finisher at the moment, or are they split up? You have some chicks
rotating them through.
and some adults.
So I've got about 9,000 that are 2 weeks old today. I've got about 8,500 that are 20 weeks tomorrow, but they leave tonight, so they'll never hit 20 weeks. And then I've got...
Where do they go?
They go to
shop.
They go to the sandwich shop.
Arriving at your local Subway tomorrow.
Yeah.
Actually, Subway's one of our customers.
Oh, wow.
There you go. All right. Sorry to interrupt. So you got some...
And
start
then-
over. You got 9,000 that are chicks?
9,000 that are about 2 weeks old.
Okay.
8,500 that are about 20 weeks old. Probably 7,600 that are just now 12 weeks old. And I've got some that are in between there somewhere.
Right. Okay. So you really are rotating your I want to say crops, but your
inventory.
Your livestock, almost every
6 weeks.
Roughly. That's crazy. Yeah, that's it. So every 6 weeks, you're getting a new flock in, and a flock is leaving.
Pretty close, yeah. There's
Wow.
a couple weeks for clean out time, so I can make sure the barns are clean, but
That's crazy.
Wow.
It's just it's a thing I've never thought about.
Right?
You know, it's just it's a different game, different job. Interesting, very kind of wild. So you applied for this job. It took you a year to get it. why did they not want you? Why did it take a year to get over there?
So they had another manager here who they wanted gone, but he kept acting a little better, so they held on to him for a year.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you walk in straight as the manager, or did you have to work your way up the ladder a little?
No, I applied as a manager and got hired in as a manager.
Perfect.
Do you have a lot of I mean, you said you raised birds when you were a kid. What kind of birds were you raising as a kid? To
when
get
I was
this
a kid,
experience to be a turkey farmer.
Yeah, 40,000 birds.
I did 4-H. I showed chickens and turkeys. On average, as a kid, I think we had about 300 birds on the farm at a time.
Wow.
Most of those were exhibition birds, so not so much your egg layers, but like, your fancy chickens or fancy turkeys.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's just a different 4-H.
Yeah.
Out here, like a kid raises a pig.
Yeah,
like
a pig or a goat.
I did that too.
And one only, not 300 birds. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's really. I'm intrigued. I think it's really cool. I think it's it's just a different side of America that a lot of people probably don't realize or follow along with. I mean, at least out here in California, I don't see it very often. We see the cow farms occasionally when we drive down I-5, but yeah, it's just it's a different world.
To me, it's every day. That's all I see is farms. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Tulare and Visalia, which is like agriculture central of the United States, pretty much. So like, farming isn't any kind of like new or unknown thing for me, but it's all cow and dairy stuff, right? So, but learning about like bird farming, I'm like, what? That's just crazy.
Yeah, that's like, I think it's us, Missouri or Minnesota are the two biggest places for bird farming.
Wow.
Wow.
Why is that?
I think it's a temperature thing. It's easy to maintain a temperature in a barn when it's cooler than when it's warm.
Okay.
Because you can heat a barn for cheap, but you can't cool a barn for cheap.
Gotcha.
Though we do have a listener. His screen name is Magnolia Mayhem, and he works at a chicken farm in Mississippi.
Oh. Okay. So they're all over.
They're all over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Interesting.
wild. Yeah, that's really kind of
farming.
Cool. Yeah.
I wonder. So, this is something I wish I knew more about. Just in my family's background, my grandmother's father, apparently like wrote the book on poultry farming. And so he was a massive chicken professor, doctorate of chickens, down at I think it was Cal Poly. And so I've always kind of wondered, like, how big is this? I've always heard that he's like wrote the book on poultry farming, right? And so I'm like, what does that mean? How far is his reach really out there? So like,
yeah.
now that I know somebody in poultry farming, bird farming, I kind of want to go and find some of the stuff that he created and ask you about it and see if you've heard of him. So
I would love to look at that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can look up more information about him. His plaque is still at Cal Poly as like the head of the poultry department for years and years. So, okay, well, that's good to know. I'm gonna have to hit you up about that later.
Yeah. Well, now that you're bringing that up, it made me remember that my great grandfather on my father's side raised chickens in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, they had a chicken farm, and they actually ended up closing it and then moved to California, and that's why that side of the family's here now.
I wonder if your great-great-granddaddy knew my great-granddaddy.
Yeah, they probably went off-roading together.
And then I'm over here. My great-granddaddy was a funeral director, and everyone else was a funeral director.
Yeah, your great-granddaddy probably met ours, but ours were passed away by then. So, yeah. Too funny. All right, so circling her back around, let's kind of close this off with podcasting again. So do all the guys now have Toyotas? Are you kind of just a Toyota-based podcast that just raises chickens or turkeys on the side? Like,
it's not necessarily Toyota-based. I mean, currently, me, Mark, and Gavin all drive Toyotas. We do have a Jeep build that we're kind of working on in the background.
Okay.
Why would you devalue your podcast like that?
We're putting a Jeep YJ tub on a 3rd Gen 4Runner frame.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Does
So
the
it's gonna
frame
be-
look like a quilt?
Yeah.
No, this one's clean. This one's clean. So it's going to be a 3.4 powered Jeep YJ with long travel. Yeah, it's going to be a really
The YJ
weird
is a
build.
pretty short tub compared to a 4Runner frame.
It is.
How much are you chopping that frame down?
So everything behind the last mount for the rear axle is getting cut off. And then we're going to
Okay.
tub the YJ because that's going to put the rear axle right on the back of the YJ tub. And then it puts the front axle right in the front of the YJ fenders.
Oh, that's going to look goofy.
It's going to look
But
like a stretched YJ.
It's going to
Yeah.
look like a super stretched YJ.
But you're
yeah.
going to leave it IFS.
Yeah, long travel.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, so 3.4 power. Are you doing anything with the transmission and transfer case?
I'm trying to think of what's on that frame right now, or on that build right now. I think so. It's got stock dual stick transfer case right now. Well, obviously dual stick isn't stock, but it's a stock transfer case with dual stick.
Okay.
But I think that's going in our buddy's 4Runner, so it's probably going to end up with a factory transfer case for now.
Okay. Those work great.
Yep.
We figure make it run, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. How are you dealing with the electrical? Or is there a lot of electrical from the YJ that you have to be concerned about?
We ripped all of it out. We're going to rewire all of it, basically to be a Toyota.
Yeah. So what about the dash? Are you going to wire the Toyota stuff into the YJ dash, or are you going to put the Toyota dash in the YJ?
Well, we ripped the YJ dash out. We're going to make a flat, just a flat, like a CJ dash for it.
Okay.
And then we'll just put aftermarket gauges for GPS speedometers, so we don't even have to mess with ABS sensors. And then everything else will just be hard plumbed.
Nice. That sounds like a fun build. It's going to be different and it's going to be unique and awesome.
Are you going to put a
That's the
rooftop
goal.
tent on it too?
No.
Oh, come on.
We so
He's going PVC pipes and a tarp.
PVC tarp.
me and Mark are, it's not that we're anti rooftop tents. It's just that they don't make sense in Michigan.
Why is that?
What are the benefits of a rooftop tent?
Get off of the cold ground. Really?
But then you've got air running directly underneath you, cooling your tent off.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, yes, you are right, but I think there's the foam insulating pad on the inside that prevents a lot of intrusion of the cold weather.
As long as it's not memory foam, because that freezes here.
Oh, interesting. And I hate memory foam. I don't sleep well on memory foam at all. So, yeah, I don't have any of that.
I mean, it's not that I'm against them. It's a lot of money when I could just go buy a $100 Walmart tent and set it up in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or get a military sleeping bag setup, right?
Yeah. I sent you that picture of us at Benji's open house.
He went to Benji's open house for Benji's
cool.
setup. And their setup, was that you and Mark, was it?
Yep, me and
Was
Mark.
both of them sleeping in like what looked like bibby sacks, which were the military sleep
they're bibby
system,
sacks.
just out on the ground, no tent or anything.
That's how my grandfather did it, and I always did it as a kid. If it was fair weather outside, we just laid down a tarp, no tent or anything, and put our sleeping bags on it and slept in the open sky. So,
And it got kind of cold that night, but with our military bags, you really don't feel the cold.
Nice. Yeah, I got invited to try a military bag when I go down to King of the Hammers this year.
Oh, nice.
But I'm also kind of like, should I really try a military bag sleeping in my rooftop tent, like with my electric heated mattress pad? Like,
you can sleep in the truck bed that night.
You might only need the summer bag. Though.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
won't need the winter bag.
maybe I'll just sleep outside underneath the rooftop tent that night and
Put down
try
a
it
tarp
out.
and
Yeah, that could be fun. But yeah, that was pretty cool. How did you like Benji's new celebration of him starting the off-road
The shop, the
Shop.
business.
It was really cool. I think Benji put on a really fun show. There were a lot of cool people there. It was a good chance for us to network since, Michigan, we don't have a whole lot of stuff going on up here, but it was a lot of fun.
That's cool. I really wish I could have gone. How long was the drive down there for you?
11 hours, 12 hours,
Wow.
somewhere in there.
Okay.
In my third gen 4Runner with no cruise control.
I have cruise control. I almost never use it. I don't know why. I don't use it that often. I should.
At home, I don't use it, but man, on the expressway, it'd be nice to just set cruise and let it go.
Yeah.
I will say dynamic cruise control. I use that all the time in the dually. That's
Yeah.
nice.
I bet. Those are fun. You can just have it anywhere. You just leave it on everywhere, and you just
set it for 90, and it'll just adjust to traffic as you go.
I've never used one.
No, neither have I.
The newest car I've ever had was the 2004. So
There you
Nice.
go. I like dynamic cruise control because I'll just cut them off, and they have to slow down.
Exactly. You find somebody that's running it, you troll them all day.
Yeah. I wish they had it on the rear so I could push them. They're like, I'm getting too close. This car needs to go faster.
that would be very useful.
Yeah, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, I think they're smarter than that. And they're like, we don't need it on the rear. That's awesome. Cool. All right. So when does your podcast get released? And I guess what general topics do you kind of cover?
We usually we release one on. We just changed this too, so I got to think now.
Oh.
We release one on Monday night at 11:30. That's just a 30-minute episode. Right now we're playing the game Radio Chatter, which
Okay.
What is that? Hold that back up. Okay.
Is it a just a question, a prompt of
Yep.
what's one of your favorite outdoor activities that you've ever done or whatever?
That might actually be a card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So they're just general topics.
Yep. And it's pretty fun. We the guy who started Radio Chatter is local to us, so we figured it'd be kind of a fun thing to go through. Then on, I think it's Friday night now. Friday night at 11:30, we release an hour-long episode, and that one could be anything from we went on a trip and we're going to talk about it to we're bored and have no idea what to talk about. It's just a mixed bag.
Perfect.
And then once a month, we read an article from Northology. It's a virtual magazine started by Cindy Pope. So we read one of her articles and we kind of talk about it. That's a really, really fun episode. We just started that this month, but it's probably one of my favorite ones we've done.
That'd be great. I've heard of Northology. I've gotten ads to subscribe to Northology, but I've never looked into what Northology is. So,
Yeah, it's
like what kind of content are they covering? Oh, that's a sweet
Mostly-
tattoo. Hold your arm back up.
oh,
Trees.
That's cool. Just a bunch of
trying to show you the Jeep.
there's a Jeep on there.
All we noticed was the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
it now. It's a negative space. Cool. That's sweet. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So what's Northology? What do they have? What are they covering?
Mostly Overland content. Cindy Pope has, she's got Overland the Red, and I'm trying to think of what her one in the UP is. It's in Keweenaw. But yeah, they just do, different Overland type content, all sorts of articles about different things. It's Core. That's the one in Keweenaw.
Okay.
So Cindy Pope's a really big part of the Overland community here in the Midwest, and Northology is just kind of like her contribution to everybody.
That's kind of cool. I've never heard of Cindy or what she does there. So, is she just really involved with the communities? Does she run some businesses? Is she in industry stuff, or what is she really doing over there?
Core is what really started Cindy getting involved. Core is Overland Expo that happens in the Keweenaw Peninsula every year.
Okay.
Then it's been so long since we interviewed Cindy.
Yeah.
We have an episode. I can send you the link to it where we interviewed
Benji
her.
has interviewed her too, right?
I don't know if Benji has, because when we talked to her, Benji had not interviewed her yet.
Oh, really? Okay. And maybe it was your guys' podcast that I saw it, but I could have sworn that either that or I think Benji's going to start working with her or something like that.
I'd hope so. Those two would be an awesome duo.
Okay, well, that's cool. We'll put a link in the show notes to your episode with Cindy. That'll be nice to have because I want to go listen to that now too. So, okay, well, cool, man. We're a little far along here. Shall we transition into Meshtastic and talking about?
I'm all for it.
Okay.
All right. Nice talking to you guys. You have a good rest of your day. Jimmy out.
All right, so this originally came up. You called in or wrote in or something asking about comparisons of Meshtastic to APRS. And I didn't know. I haven't heard of Meshtastic or know how it works or anything, but I know how APRS works and how that network is all kind of runs. And you sounds like you know quite a bit about Meshtastic and how their networks work and run. So, what is Meshtastic? Because I tried to guess as to what it was.
You weren't too far off.
Okay. Go ahead and describe what it is then and how it works and what are kind of some of the benefits of it.
So Meshtastic is an off-grid mesh communications network. So if you've got, let's say you're in a group of 6 guys out on a trail, if each of you have a Meshtastic node in your truck, it has GPS connectivity, the ability to send small packets of data and text messaging. So, I mean, this is what my pocket Meshtastic node looks like.
Okay.
So that's about the size of a credit card, but then maybe an 3/4 of an inch thick.
Maybe half of a credit card and then about 3/4 of an inch thick.
Okay.
All right.
But then they can get really big, like my keyboard standalone one here.
Oh, it's like a BlackBerry.
Yeah, it's a BlackBerry keyboard.
Nice.
And so they can talk to, let's say truck number 1 can only see truck 1 through 3, but then truck 3 can see truck 4 through 6. So then because it's a mesh network, truck 1 can see everybody. And it'll send your location onto a map, which we use ATAC, which is the military released the software behind the Blue Force Tracker, which is just a way to keep track of where everyone on the battlefield is.
Okay.
So with ATAC, we're able to put in all the trail maps that we're using, and then we can see where on the trails everyone in our group is as long as they're connected to the mesh network.
That's pretty rad. It's APRS on steroids, on cocaine, really. It's
And I mean, it's license free. The farthest connection I've made was like 130 miles. Someone was flying overhead.
Nice. And had a Meshtastic on?
Oh, they're everywhere, man.
Really?
Out by you guys. So California has like 400 some nodes that are on our MQTT network, which is the online network.
Okay.
I don't know how many non-connected nodes there are, but I know there's like 400 some connected nodes. So,
and just for comparison, like how many connected nodes does Michigan have?
I think like 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, California, I found with Silicon Valley and all the nerdy people out here, any kind of like radio communication stuff, it seems like it's a high density here in California.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Here in my hometown, me and my dad have 6 or 7 nodes, like, stationary nodes, repeaters, basically. We've got one on each of our house. Well, one second. We would have one on each of our houses if I could go up and put this on the roof, but it's snowy and cold up there, so I'd put that off.
That's probably smart.
But we've got one on each roof, one in one of the barns at my dad's house, and we've got one on the church steeple.
Okay.
And that gives us, usually we can connect to the network up to about 10 miles from our little area.
Okay.
And then Mark's got one. He lives 30 or 40 miles away, and he's got one on his roof. And every once in a while, we'll be able to see each other. But
Interesting. So you're like 10-mile range. How much power are those putting out then? What's your ERP?
that's a good question. Very little.
I was going to say that sounds like very little because with APRS here in California, I can be up at the Rubicon and hit digipeters and iGates over in San Francisco. And that's 150, 200 miles as the crow flies. And that's on, I guess, my radio and my rig. I'd be pumping an APRS signal at about 30 watts, 35 watts. So I don't know.
I don't even know if these are pushing a watt, to be honest.
Yeah, I would guess half a watt to a quarter watt, something like that.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and they don't need much power. Like I said, they can transmit, 130 miles or more if they have clear range, but
yeah.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Are they, what frequency range are they working on?
915.
Okay, so up in the getting close to gigahertz. So you pretty much have to have pretty good line of sight with them, like flat areas or like you said, depending on the mesh network of a bunch of rigs traveling together. Are they easy to hack and maybe bump up the power, or are they very limited legally by the FCC and quote unquote what you're allowed to do there?
It would be easy to hack them because it's open source,
Yeah.
but we try to stay in the legal range for them usually. I do know that there is a setting because they connect to a phone. That's how you interact with them, is through your phone.
Okay.
Through Bluetooth.
Okay. So there's an app interface.
Yep.
For the user interface.
The Meshtastic app.
Cool.
And I know that there's a setting for you to turn on if you're a ham, and then you can bump up the power from there.
Ooh. So are they operating within the 900 megahertz ham range then as well?
I have no idea. I'm not a ham. I've never played with it.
That would make sense. Okay. I'm interested. I want to be getting on and playing around with these now. Are the nodes, each individual node, is that like a ready buy thing, or is it pretty much like a kit you put together each time?
You have to buy. I use Heltec boards. This one's a Heltec. That's my portable, and then I've got this, which is a rack whiz block, and they're just little production boards that you buy, and then you flash the software onto them.
Okay.
And then there's 3D printed cases galore for them. I mean, everyone's got a case for these things.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm surprised. I've never heard of Meshtastic before, and it sounds like it's a pretty big thing. So
I was really surprised you'd never heard of Meshtastic.
Yeah. It sounds super usable too. I mean, how big of a text message? How many characters can you send with the mesh texting?
I've never hit the limit, and I've sent some pretty long ones. So let's see if it even 200.
200 characters. Yeah, I mean APRS. I want to say APRS is limited to 50 or 60 characters, 45 even maybe. So that's a good spot there. You can, and then so within the Meshtastic app, can you run the mapping overlays there for?
So if you have the ATAC app, there's a Meshtastic plugin.
Okay.
And then ATAC handles all the mapping.
Is
you
that
can even
ATAC?
ATAK.
ATAK. I haven't heard of that either. Okay.
So then I'm pretty sure it's ATAK. Let me double check that. I don't have it on this phone. Yeah, I think it's ATAK. But yeah, so ATAC does all the mapping, and then you can even mark on it's ATAK. You can even mark on the map, like, there's a down tree here, and that will get sent across the mesh. So everyone running ATAC in your group will see that there's a down tree across the trail.
So it'll put like a flag on the map or something?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
It's Waze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Waze, but for the trail.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool. What other, so if there's repeaters and connected, so you got non-connected and connected nodes, right, or repeaters. which is very similar to APRS. You've got digipeaters, which are non-connected repeaters, and then you have iGates, which are connected repeaters, right? So if your signal can make it into a connected repeater, then that then goes online, and that data from your signal goes online from your packet?
So that, depending on how that node is set up, because there's different channels within the Meshtastic set, because it's encrypted, which you can't do with your amateur radio.
Yep.
So depending on what channel the node is set up on, it goes to a group, a large lobby, basically, is where your message would go.
Okay.
Like a, I can't even think what they're called, a chat room from when we were kids, you know?
So it goes to an AOL chat. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So we've got one here in Michigan called Michigan Long Fast. So every connected node in Michigan, if you're connected to it and message to Long Fast, it gets sent to the Michigan Long Fast connected chat room.
Okay. Gotcha. And then so once it's in that quote unquote connected chat room, I'm assuming people have servers or bots set up to troll the data incoming, and any particular protocol or particular user that posts it does something with it, or can you do that? Or
I think they can do that, but usually it's just anyone on the mesh in that area. So if I'm on the mesh in Grant, someone on the mesh in Detroit would see my message.
Oh, okay. So it's okay. Got it.
It's a chat room.
It's literally an internet chat room that you just look
and
up
so
and watch on.
if I was in Detroit looking for you out in Grant, could I search it and be like, hey, what's Alex up to? And
so
it'll pop it up.
If our nodes had seen each other in the past, so let's say me and you had been within 10 miles of each other at some point, and our nodes had seen each other, then you could private message me over that internet network as well.
Okay. That's pretty nice. And you don't need any kind of user license or anything because it's all open source.
Nope. It's all open source and doesn't require any ham license or anything.
Gotcha. Because that's one of the things I really like about APRS is that I can be out on a trail somewhere and essentially send a text message back to my significant other at home to let them know, hey, I'm going to be an extra day. I broke something, or hey, everything's going great. I'll be home at my normal time, etc. Like that. But the problem with it is that my significant other needs to have her ham radio call sign in order to reply and respond. Whereas this sounds like you don't need any of that. And it works very similarly.
Now,
for that use.
The downside to Meshtastic is that it's not quite as built up as APRS. So there's no guarantee that you'd be able to send her a message from wherever you're at.
That's fair. Yeah, which just means you need more nodes. People just need to go set up more nodes around the country. So
yeah, and I mean, it's happening. Europe's really full of them. They actually had to change the way that the mesh infrastructure works because Europe was overloading the mesh.
Wow.
That's cool. I wonder if we can talk to the powers that be and have one put at one of the Rubicon stations.
Probably. I know that they use APRS quite a bit, but I don't know if they've heard of Meshtastic and its benefits. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
We're working on getting a lot of them put up around here. The company I work for has some feed mills, and I'm working on putting some on the feed mills. So
nice.
Those are 400 feet tall, so that's a pretty good.
Nice spot there.
Good reach from that. While you guys were nerding out, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. But while you guys were nerding out, you talked about how California has like 400 and Michigan has 10. I did some math and looked some stuff up. So California has a population of almost 38.9 million, so almost 40 million. And Michigan has 10 million.
Right.
So 4 times.
4 times, which is right around 10 to 400 almost. Well, that's 40 times, huh?
That'd be 40 times.
Dang it. My math wasn't as good. But
I think more along coverage, you'd be looking at geographic size.
Yeah, maybe.
What's the square mileage of California versus square mileage of Michigan?
Yeah, you'd have to dive in a little bit more than that, though.
You guys have mountains too, so you can get a little bit farther than we can.
Yeah, if we get nodes up on top of the passes, or up high, then it would cover down towards, San Francisco and out towards the ocean really well. You have my brain going now, Alex, which is a dangerous thing to be doing.
Meshtastic is really cool, and it's only like $30 to get into. So
that's how many nodes can you have? Like, what is the bandwidth for Meshtastic? Like, how many concurrent connections? You said, for instance, Europe is overloading their bandwidth. They're overloading the network right now, so they're having to redo how it all structures. I know with APRS, each packet in APRS is a second and a half, something like that. So like 2 seconds along, something like that. So, I mean, you can only have so many signals concurrently going within an APRS network before you overload the bandwidth. And it's really not that many signals if you start thinking about it. So what is
Europe's problem started when they got to like 400 nodes per square, well, for us per square mile, then what, per square kilometer?
400 per square kilometer?
There's lots of them.
Holy shit.
And then when they started doing
400 for all of California.
And then when they started doing the internet connected thing, which they're a lot of them did the MQTT, and that just overwhelmed the mesh to a point where you could send a message, but it probably wasn't going to actually send.
Wow. Interesting. Well, I'm also thinking of Meshtastic for racing applications for
That's what I
Ultra
was
4.
thinking.
Yeah. And a bunch of the races that we have around here for like Vora, Ultra 4, Baja. So I think there's a lot of uses that the off-road industry could really make use of it.
Ultra 4, if you had a good repeater up, you could, I mean, almost anybody could just get on and be able to talk to whoever's in their area.
That's because the big issue with Ultra 4 and the trackers they put on the cars is that they're all satellite based. So they have to communicate up to a satellite, and then that signal has to come back down to the control bay, the control room, right?
Right.
Whereas with Meshtastic, every single car on the race course is its own node.
Yep.
Which means your whole network is just wherever the cars are, which is typically by lap 3, which is where you're trying to find all the cars.
Right.
They're everywhere. So the whole valley is just absolutely blanketed with coverage.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about you. We don't do a lot of racing, so I'd never even thought about it in that aspect, but that worked really well.
Yeah.
So when you would, in like this race application, if somebody wanted to get in contact with a car that's not reachable directly within the mesh network, but could be reachable, passing through some other vehicles. If you send a message, does it show up on everybody's interface, or does it just can you send it like a direct message to one person?
Direct to one person.
So each node has its own. Each node has its unique ID. Oh, it has a blast as well.
Yeah, Longfast is our open chat room. Anyone within the mesh on Longfast can message and respond to each other.
Oh, interesting.
And then you can direct message. So, and if I want to talk to Jimmy, but I can't see Jimmy, but I can see Tyler. If I send Jimmy a message, Tyler receives it. He can't read it, but then he sends it out. Jimmy gets it, and then Jimmy can decrypt it and read it.
Because it's all digital protocol as well, which means you can encrypt everything and make it so that only specific user IDs can open a message.
Yep, correct.
That would actually be really good, because I know at KOH there's every year people don't understand. They don't know when course goes cold, and they're like, am I still racing or am I out recreating right now? What is, and that's always a big thing. So like that could be another thing for the main control booth to say, hey, course is cold. If you're still on course and you're not past this point yet, you are recreating for the rest of the night.
Well, and there definitely could be a lot of good reasons to be able to do a blast for everything. You know, like
safety,
car
there's a car on fire
or whatever.
Be careful as you come around.
Yeah. Or you can be like, hey, you individual, you're off course or whatever. Get back on.
Yeah.
Figure your map out. Yeah.
We've been really playing with ATAC, trying to, make everything work perfect before we introduce it to the larger group around us. We've got it pretty freaking good right now.
Nice.
So it's a really powerful tool.
Do you know if there's any APIs that you can plug into for
There are a lot of them.
Okay, perfect. That's all. I know some people that are much better at APIs than I am. So
If you go to meshtastic.org, all the information you could ever want is there.
sweet. Okay. I'm definitely picking up a new hobby now. Thanks a lot, Alex.
It definitely took over my hobbies pretty quick.
Oh man, dude, everything application wise, search and rescue. There's so many applications for.
I don't remember where the city is, but I know there's a city in the U.S. that uses Meshtastic as a secondary alert for firefighters.
Oh wow.
So they've got one on a note up on their water tower, and then when they send out the alert over their normal radios, they'll send it out with Meshtastic as well.
Wow. Okay.
Smart.
Yeah, that's cool.
Redundancy in that case, which is very smart.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this is cool. So how does you have that portable one, the small one?
Yeah.
What does that run on? Battery wise?
Just a tiny little lipo.
Really? And how long does it last?
That's a good question.
Have you ran
every
out
time
of batteries with it?
It dies every once in a while. Yeah, it's just a tiny little.
Okay.
I think it's like 1,200 milliamp hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've had it die about 3 times, but I plug it in every night. So.
So it'll last a day.
Yeah, it probably will go over a day. I just never give it a chance to.
Okay.
Got it. And then when you use that guy, do you usually take that out on trail with you, or is it like I'm just going to be walking around during the day?
So this is the one I put in my pocket, and it's connected to my smartphone. And then I've got one in my truck that is connected to my tablet that I run Onyx and stuff on.
Okay.
So I usually have both with me, and then sometimes I'll carry around the one with the keyboard, but that one's kind of bulky, so.
Right. Well, and especially because if there's the app, like you were saying, then there's probably a typing feature within the app too. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of Onyx, I did have written down over here. Is there any way to merge Onyx and Meshtastic? Have you figured that out?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I would love for Onyx to do a Meshtastic plugin.
I was talking with Onyx for a while about trying to integrate APRS, but I think they just didn't want to do it because of the ham license need for it. So it wouldn't be a big enough user base that would actually be able to make use of it.
Whereas Meshtastic doesn't need a license.
Exactly. Do you know if Meshtastic has commercial licenses that you can use, or is it like APRS and they're like, no, it cannot be commercialized. You cannot use it as any kind of commercial backbone for comms.
It's open source, and it's in the the free
open source
use,
license, yeah,
and even the free use frequency range. So
fair. Okay.
I mean, really, you should be able to use it in a commercial side without any problem at all.
Huh. That's really cool. Okay.
Well, maybe we have a connection at Onyx.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see if we can combine forces there and see if we
and
can
I'm
get
glad
that
you
going.
brought it up, because I was going to bring that up anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's a feature I really want.
Yeah, it's something we've been asking for years, ever since I started getting into APRS. Whatever mapping software we're working with, and I've had extensive talks with a couple people at Onyx about integrating something like APRS, and they are always wanting to, and they said that they've had people investigating and trying to find a way to do it. They just haven't found a good solution yet. So,
well, now we might have another alternative that might be able to work, which would be pretty cool, because it would be rad to have an awesome mapping software that you can follow along on the trail. You know where you're at, but also now you can have your friends or people in your group following along with you, and you will always know where everybody is at.
Yep.
And it would be really cool to not have to run my split screen with ATAC on one side and Onyx on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be a bonus. Yeah. And it would be, we've always talked that you don't really need to be in eyesight of anybody anymore if you have good radio communications. If Tyler's, because with his new 4-wheel underground suspension is, blasting down the trail, and me on my leaf springs is going, almost trail tampon speed. He can go that far, but if I get into trouble and I get high centered or turtled or whatever, and I'll be like, hey man, I need a tug, he's got to come back to me, but I can still get a hold of him.
Yeah, and I can still see that he's not moving.
And if we're using Meshtastic and it was on Onyx, then we could see that I'm like, he could radio and go, hey Jimmy, why is your miles per hour at 0? What are you doing?
I'm already at Buck setting up camp, man. You're on your own.
Where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? And then I'd be like, I'm turtled. I need help. Pitch your tent and get back here. Save our spot. That'd be really cool. Cool to do. Maybe we'll just send them this audio clip.
Right.
And be like, hey,
you guys need to listen to this last 20 minutes of this episode
10
here.
minutes. Yeah, well, that'd be rad. And it would be a cool feature for any of the off-roaders out there to be able to keep track of everybody in their party while being on a map. In regards to that, how do you, not knowing the background of how it might work on Onyx and stuff, but how do you know who to follow on ATAC? Like, does it say these people are around you, or do you just see every node in the general area?
So there's a couple different ways to set that up. We usually set up a party. So with ATAC, you can say, I want these devices in my party, and then it only will show you those devices.
Cool.
And every device has a call sign, so you can see who's in what vehicle.
Okay.
Can you create your own call signs?
Yeah, we create our own call signs.
Nice.
Perfect.
The one on Mark's roof is called Trailer Trash because he lives in a trailer park.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I was just running through ideas of what.
Yep. What are you going to be your call
what
sign
kind of
now?
snail should I be? Yeah. But okay, that could be fun.
So curious, what's your call sign then, and Gavin's call signs?
Gavin hasn't gotten into it. We've tried so hard.
What a loser.
But he's he's just like, radios.
Okay.
He's got a GMRS radio, so I'll give him that.
But he still wants to talk to you guys, right?
Yeah.
That's how I was. I just was like, Tyler, hook me up with a radio so I can just communicate. And he's like, I'm not going to do that until you get your ham license. Like, damn it, Tyler.
Fine. But I am 8565 because that's my username for like all my online presence.
Okay.
It was the
what is
username. It's the username the school gave me when I was in high school.
That was your number?
Your school number?
8565?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And do you spell it out or do you just numbers?
No, the numbers.
Okay. Damn. What I just saw on Good Day, which is a news radio thing out here in this general Sacramento area, and Auschwitz is having their 80th anniversary of the release date of the Holocaust people. So, your numbers just reminded me of the 80th anniversary that's happening.
I did just finish watching Masters of the Air, so I'm right in that headspace.
Okay. Yeah. So, congratulations.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been awesome, man. I'm definitely going to be doing a deep dive into Meshtastic now. We might. It sounds great in theory and in application, everything. So we might end up seeing a node pop up on the Rubicon here too, if I can convince the right people. So it sounds great. I'll definitely looking into it. It's been fun learning about turkey farming as well. I'll hit you back up after kind of doing some more background information on my granddad.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for sitting down and taking up. It's been more time than I thought we were going to do, but it's been a lot of fun doing it. So
yeah, absolutely. A joy chatting with you. Thanks for all the feedback that you always pass on to the Snail Mail episodes there and contacting us and giving us all the insights of life not in California and outside of California. So appreciate that.
I have to say your Snail Mail segment is one of my favorite thing any podcaster is doing right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's definitely one of our favorite things we're doing right now. So we enjoy that a lot.
And we couldn't do it without listeners like you and the other ones out there that actually call in. And, we're fortunate enough that we have so many people that call into that episode that we can't keep up.
I was like, what are you up to right now? 20,
I don't know.
25?
We haven't looked at it.
We haven't looked yet. But we were at 19 last time, and I think we got through 7. And, so we always have this backlog. And it's It's fun. It's a blast. I wish we could be within a week of a podcasting kind of coming out, but to have so much wonderful feedback coming in, it's not a bad thing to have for sure. A little backlog like that, but yeah, it's definitely one of our favorite episodes that we do as well.
Yeah, it's a blast.
You need to start a Google voice number and get on this.
We're working on it. We keep talking about it. And I have to say, I love hearing Zach from Oklahoma's updates.
Yeah,
good.
I feel like I know him, and I've never even seen his truck.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2-wheel drive, second gen pickup. Actually, Zach should let us know. I don't know if it's an extra cab or double cab.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. And what color is it, Zach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we need an update on his camper shell. So
the extruded aluminum. I want to hear how that's going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was doing that too.
Mm-hmm.
But no, definitely. Yeah, Zach's we've never met him either. I mean, we did give him a little donation from Snail Trail 4x5 for that bike ride month, that thing that he was doing. But yeah, that's besides him calling in, that's the only interaction that we ever get. It's a weird one-sided relationship.
Totally
podcasting. I'm sure you're on season 2. I think this might be episode 8 for you guys. That you'll eventually, and maybe it's even happened, people will come up to you and they'll know absolutely everything about you. And you have no idea who they are or what they do or anything about them. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that part.
Yeah.
It does get a little weird at times because you forget that you talk about some things on the podcast, some personal life stuff. And then people are like, oh yeah, how's this going back at home? And you're like, how'd you know what I talked about that? What?
Exactly. How's the bathroom remodel going? Like, who are you? Yeah.
Are you?
Is the bathroom as cool as Benji's bathroom?
No.
I haven't. Benji's got a really cool bathroom.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is the new shop. He spent a lot of time building his bathroom up.
He probably spent more time on the bathroom than the rest of the shop.
And apparently he finally put a door on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I guess it was doorless forever.
Did he
And
model
did
the
have a
Madonna
door.
Inn?
Pardon?
The Madonna Inn's bathroom? Or
I
did he
doubt he's
something?
been in there. Yeah, that's a pretty epic bathroom.
That's an epic bathroom.
Yeah. There's a hotel down in Central Coast of California called the Madonna Inn, and it's pretty well known to being just absolutely everything about it is way over the top.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And they have like themed rooms, like the jungle. You can stay in the jungle room,
Every
or the
room is a different thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've driven through California exactly once in my life, from bottom to top, and twice if you count from top to bottom. But
Okay.
I don't know if I've driven through Michigan, so I think you might have me there.
well, come out, man! It's beautiful.
might-
Everything's flat. There's no hard obstacles, and there's no hard obstacles because they took out Marblehead.
I think I have been. I don't know.
My sister lives in Michigan, and I still have yet to go visit her and see her place there since she moved to Michigan over a decade ago. So
Yeah. I've driven from Chicago to Sandusky, Ohio.
That
doesn't quite count.
That's very sad. I'm so sorry.
Well, but I don't think I went to Michigan. I think I just went right underneath it. Well, actually, we drove from Chicago to Quebec, Canada on that trip.
Oh,
But
so
I was just pointing out that I went underneath Michigan.
yeah, so you would have went up
Michigan.
from Toledo probably.
Yeah,
Toledo or
I went
maybe
to
Detroit.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a while ago. We went to Quebec, Canada to see the international competition of fireworks.
Okay, that sounds fun, actually.
It was so random, but it was really cool. Like you think like your general, celebration, New Year's or 4th of July firework thing. Cool. Well, now try doing it on an international level where people are competing against each other.
Yeah.
There's fireworks everywhere, floor, ground, like things in the sky, to music, just, wild.
Wow.
It was
All
pretty
of
cool.
my opinions of Quebec are from the show Letterkenny, so
I've never seen that
I
show.
have, never heard of
oh, Well, now you got another thing to do.
I
You
know.
gotta
I'll
watch
add that one to
Letterkenny.
my list. Yeah. No, Quebec was an interesting place. I mean, that's the province of Canada that speaks French, right?
Right.
So it's like this
Yep.
really bizarre area. The rest of Canada is fantastic.
Quebec, baby. Yeah.
But anyways, Alex, this was fun.
Yeah.
Great to finally put a face to the name and a voice to the face to the name and all the above. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. This was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome.
If people
Thanks,
want to check out Botches Off-Road, see what you've been up to, what's the best way for people to do that? Where are you guys all located?
Well, you can go to Botches Off Road on on YouTube,
Okay.
or Facebook, or Instagram. And then you could go to Forerunner98 on Instagram, and that's FORRUNNER.
Okay.
And is that you?
Yep, that's
Okay.
me.
Sweet.
I could send you the RSS feed. We don't really have a website set up yet.
Okay, but you're on all the podcasting apps, so you've got it all fed into all those?
All of them except for Apple and iHeart.
Interesting. Was that a conscious decision, or you just haven't set it up yet?
iHeart requires me to have an iHeart account, and Apple requires me to have an Apple account.
Uh-huh.
And since I don't have either of them, we haven't gotten them on there yet.
Okay, gotcha.
No, the other gentlemen don't have an iPhone either.
No, we're all Android users.
Attaboys.
Good guys.
Yeah.
Knew we liked you guys.
I use a fancy imported Fairphone.
Never even
Fair.
heard of
Never
that
Heard
either.
that either, yeah.
Dang, you're all
It's-
techie.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing. It's fully repairable,
Whoa.
battery removable, has 8 screws to take it off.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
And what OS does it run?
Android.
Okay, just the standard Android, whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
it can. Mine runs EOS, which is a private Android that doesn't have Google or anything on it.
You're like the Linux of Android
Yeah.
phones. Got it.
I'm currently talking on a Arch Linux install, so
There you go.
I haven't touched a Windows computer in a few years.
Okay. Dang. Yeah. Like I said before, you're the tech guy, huh?
Yep.
If anybody has any questions about anything techie, get a hold of Alex here.
Yep.
At what? Forerunner 98 Forerunner?
Yep,
Forerunner
Forerunner 98.
Forerunner 98. FOUR?
FOR.
FOR.
Like the word for,
Yeah.
runner.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Every other variation was taken.
Gotcha. FORRUNNER.
Got
Okay,
it.
good.
98.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been awesome. It's a lot of fun. Like Jimmy said, it's great to put a face to the name and everything. So, yeah, if everybody wants to know more about some tech stuff, see how a YJ tub can go on a 3rd gen Forerunner frame and
Someday.
work with long travel, definitely check that out. And any other fun things you guys got coming up?
That's about it. Our next trip's all the way in June, so I guess pay attention to our builds because they're going to change a lot before we go to Leatherwood in Kentucky.
Gotcha. Any chance you guys are going to make it out to Cruise Moab in Utah?
Not this year. Maybe
All right.
2026.
Okay, good. We'll meet you out there then if you guys
we
are
have
going.
Moab as in our sights for 2026
Cool.
and Rubicon in 2028. So
Once you
All
guys
right.
are ready for that one, let us know. We'll be there for
we'll
sure.
do.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome, dude. Thanks for coming on. Jimmy, any final words to wrap it up?
I thought this was a fantastic episode. We learned so much about the Meshtastic stuff. It's was nice to hear it from somebody that has experience instead of somebody that was completely making it up.
Yeah.
He wasn't too far off.
No, but we learned a lot, and it's really cool. And I think that it will be a good implementation. It would be great to implement
Implementation?
on trails out here in California if people have not already started doing so. So we're definitely going to look into that. So thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it a lot in the off-road sector, but I really think it's something we need to start looking into.
Yeah. It sounds like a really cool protocol and uses. So, Alex, any final words to send off everybody today?
It was just nice to finally get to meet you guys.
Ditto, man. Well, cool. I guess with all that, my friends, keep crawling.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up?
I got one for you. Why did the turkey bring a microphone?
Why?
He was ready to roast.